Let's now revisit our earlier report from Washington, where President Donald Trump has just announced a free or trade deal with India. This is after their phone call with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, saying New Delhi agreed to stop buying Russian oil and may purchase it instead from Venezuela. Trump said that out of friendship and respect for Modi, the United States would lower its reciprocal tariff rate from 25% to 18%, while India would reduce tariffs on U.S. goods to zero. Let's talk to our correspondent, Susan Teherani, who's now joining us live. Susan, this is a big update coming in from the United States. We do understand that the president has just announced that there's a trade deal with India. Maybe you can tell us more details about that. All right, we'll get to our correspondent in a short while from now, but Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the President of the United States held a phone call. Details about their discussion are being released now, but the ambassador to India, Sergio Gore, broke the news via X. The latest call comes after a courtesy call that both leaders held on India's Independence Day. The two leaders have spoken 4 times since Trump doubled tariffs on imports from India to as much as 50%, hitting exports of textiles, chemicals, and food items such as shrimps. On Sunday, President Trump announced that India will buy Venezuelan oil. He emphasized that the concept of the deal has already been made, signaling a shift in energy partnerships. The Indian government has not responded to these claims. Let's listen to our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Sidhan Sibol, about this new deal that India and the United States have made.
Big development. The US President Donald Trump has announced a trade deal with India and the reduction in tariffs from 25% to 18%. Now, this is a significant development coming at a time when we know that there was a big worry a short while ago. Both the leaders had conversations as well, and we know that the Indian External Affairs Minister will be in Washington on Tuesday, which will be important for the Indian participation at the minerals meeting. So the answerable for WION in London.
All right, let's now talk to our correspondent, Susan Teherani. She's now joining us live from New York. Susan, the President of the United States has just announced that they have a trade deal with India, and we do know that the President has spoken to the Prime Minister of India 4 times. This is a breakthrough.
Yeah, it really is a breakthrough. And from a U.S. perspective, really, Eric, this eases those concerns about inflation on the one hand, the criticism he's been getting at home from different corporations on the other hand, and also from the American people regarding America's domestic economic policies. It also puts President Trump in a favorable position in dealing with alliances. He's very keen on bilateral talks when it comes to trade as opposed to a multilateral setting. So this also shows his constituents and perhaps those independent voters that are very important for the 2026 midterm elections that he is able to forge alliances and make deals with America's allies and partners. Of course, from a broader perspective, you look at India-US relations and it just runs so deep in different aspects and different sectors that this was really a sticking point that was jeopardizing relationships in other sectors as well. So it's very noteworthy for the United States. It hopefully will be a positive path forward for the two sides, for India as well, because there was a lot of concern, even among Trump's closest allies, that he was ruining this relationship with India because of these tariffs. And if, all goes well, then hopefully it can be smooth sailing moving forward from now.
All right, that is our correspondent, Susan Teherani. She's now reporting on what Trump just said. Thank you very much, Susan. We'll get back to her in a short while from now, but this is what Trump said. Out of friendship and respect for Modi, the United States would lower its reciprocal tariff rate from 25% to 18%. But this is interesting. While India would reduce tariffs on U.S. goods to zero. So this is the latest announcement coming in from Washington, where President Donald Trump has just announced a trade deal and put up a photo of him and the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, saying that we have a trade deal with India. They had actually spoken before he made this post on phone. The two leaders, that is President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, had already spoken on phone, and the news of their discussion and the discussion was announced by the U.S. Ambassador to India, Sergio Gore. So this is the latest information that we have at this hour. Let's now talk to our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Sidhant Sibol. Sidhant, this statement is interesting because out of friendship and respect for Modi, the United States would lower its reciprocal tariff rate from 25% to 18%. But what is interesting, India would reduce tariffs on U.S. goods to zero. Okay, we'll try and connect with our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs in just a moment. But this is the latest news that is coming in our newsroom at this hour. The details of the discussion between the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of India have just been released by the government of India. And we do know from this post by the President of the United States, who has just announced a trade deal with India. This is actually a post that was made by the Ambassador, Sergio Gore, detailing the discussion that both the President of the United States and the Indian Prime Minister had. All right, let's talk to our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Sidhant Sibol. Sidhant, it's interesting that the United States is willing to lower its reciprocal tariff rate from 25% to 18%, but they say that India would reduce tariffs on U.S. goods to zero.
Well, Eric, it's a significant development. Yes, India will, it is claimed by the U.S. President Donald Trump, will be reducing tariffs. But essentially, we know that this is something that was in making for a long time, and the day has come. In fact, the Indian External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will be in Washington tomorrow, and he will be meeting the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He will be attending the minerals meeting as well. And before that, this announcement coming almost a week after the India-EU trade deal announcement. The biggest economy in the world, two of the biggest economies now having a trade deal is significant. Of course, there are a lot of details like $500 billion of trade engagement, India lowering the tariffs. These are announcements made by the U.S. president. We do not know the details as to what details have been agreed to other than what the U.S. president has announced, but significant indeed by the Indian and the American side.
All right. That is our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Sidhant Sibol, with the latest detail on the trade deal between United States and India. You are watching WION World is One.